call the roll, that'd be awesome.
Richard Swarthout.
Here.
Scott Reed.
Here.
Dan Mulder. Here. Danny Roger.
Yes.
Maggie Fox. Here. And Judy Moore. Here. Perfect. I said before everyone was here that Sarah has conferences. I have a couple notes from her. Once we get to those topics, I'll just feed them in from my phone.
Like a plan. Well, we start with the approval of the September 9th minutes. Any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
All right, Dan
Second.
and Dick seconds. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Fantastic. We do have an addition to the agenda for this week. It's in front of you now, so I'm gonna ask maybe with acclamation here if nobody objects, and we'll just put it on, but as C and old business. Oh. As
I'll
C,
make a motion to approve the new agenda item.
well, we're gonna add to take comments on the initial Kiwanis building layout that you've had here, so that's the motion, and it sounds like there's a second.
Who's the second? Oh,
Okay, there is a second. All right.
All those in favor?
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No, all right, sounds good. Any board communications? Rachel, you guys?
no, I did let the woman who had reached out via email about Jay Scenic about the treatment that we've done to the grass. She's very happy. She's pleased. She said thank you to the department and the board. And then also real quick, at the last city council meeting, when council was going through capital improvement projects, I don't know who it was, but someone did a public comment on the Zorn fountain. And the disarray of it, and that's actually not off base. That fountain is in need of more than a Band-Aid that is patching the concrete over and over. I spoke to John Cups, and he has a couple ideas for it. It doesn't equate to a CIP project, it'd be well under. But I plan on bringing that to the board in the next couple of months as a spring project. Because I do think that's important to keep that nice. That was a valid comment that she
So
made.
it's not just paint, it's more than.
Yeah, it's more than that, kind of like the direction we want to go. Kind of like with those sides and what we can do, concrete versus other materials that may last longer, what we want it to look like. So.
Well, your work on the plaques turned out just fantastic.
Yeah, so I think that's a good start.
Yeah.
So that way we can say, you know, isn't a capital improvement project, we did hear your comment and we can move on. So that's not the first comment we've had on that. So now's the time.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Any public comments? We don't have any here, anything online? Oh,
No.
New business, we'll start with
Just
the
a-
oh, sorry.
Never mind, I'll bring it up in the.
Fall Fest recap is we'll start with in our new business.
Yeah, sorry, it wouldn't load to the packet, so it's a separate document.
So pretty.
Probably because it was so pretty.
Beautiful.
Great slide deck.
So day of details, sunny and 85 degrees, felt like 90. I
You were
don't want to
talking
complain
about
about
fire.
great weather, but wow. We had about 200 to 250 estimated visitors. That's basing off the slides we went through and just like the general pictures. 20 volunteers, and we got $61 in donations.
Before we leave this, Kaylin, your friends at the high school at both Harness Society and
Yeah.
Key Club and everybody who volunteered were awesome.
Great.
So
Good
many
to
great
hear.
volunteers and they were all over the place. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yes.
For us.
I'm glad so many people volunteered. Usually we don't have that many for an event like that, but I had everybody volunteer and I was like, I'll ask her if she wants more than 6. But it was great.
We do have
That
a
was very
certain
great.
reputation.
It was good.
Activities, we did pumpkin painting, we did Parks and Rec table, the donut pull, we added face painting this year. That was popular. Caramel apples, bowling, Strong Mountain, and line dancing. So this year we would have added 3 additional activities, the bowling, face painting, and line dancing. We can have general comments on some of the activities. I think by the end of the event, we had all kind of decided that caramel apples probably just ran its course and it's time to move on. Bowling was pretty popular, it was kind of in waves, kind of a more passive thing. Line dancing, the high schoolers were living their
having a
best
great
lives.
time.
So like we almost have
You were out there.
and face painting had a line, there's no surprise there.
Rachel, was the attendance about the same?
I would say, it's hard to say. No, I thought it was a little low.
I
But
thought,
I spoke to others and they said they thought it was the same, but people didn't stay as long due to the heat. So it
There
was
was-
hard to tell.
There were a bunch, I wasn't there because I was
Yeah.
coaching soccer, there was a bunch of soccer games that day,
Yeah.
which takes out, like
And
50 kids.
the beach was.
Yeah.
If I went to the beach right after fall, Fest to clean the restrooms and do the trash, and there had to have been 50 people there. So, I mean, you can't compete with a 90-degree fall day and people out to the beach. I mean,
There's
I
no
had a
anything we
boat.
can do about it either,
Yeah.
unless we did
Yeah,
a little.
yeah,
bit.
especially in October.
and I've spoken to Bill's Farm Market and some other places. And it's interesting because Bill's Farm Market, Bill specifically really appreciates that we do ours early because it helps with his supplies and more things are available. And I, like, if you look at weather, we actually usually luck out.
I like it early because it's like a kickoff to fall.
Yeah,
Here we
if we wait too late, we're competing with a lot of other fall fests as well that go on, but.
Well, and it's
Meanwhile,
not-
some of us never get to go to the Notes Nab
Yeah.
opening.
I mean, we could,
Year after year.
you get a little bit later and we could end up with snow for Fall Fest. So I
Right.
mean, it is sort of like trying to find that,
Yeah.
that happy spot. I thought 200, 250. It was, for given the weather and everything else that was going on, like, people had a great time. It was a good showing, I thought, for the Parks Board.
I think we do need to boost publicity more next year,
Yeah.
though, like whether we do paid Facebook
Mhm.
or. I don't know what else we do, but I had a number of people say, I didn't know this was going on, I didn't
we
see
can do-
anything.
A bunch of flyers, even getting them in like schools and different buildings throughout town would be, usually flyers are really good. for
Yeah.
it.
Or
Usually we do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did send, we
even
sent
more.
them to the, like, I don't think we sent them to the high school though.
I did.
Oh, you did,
I sent it
okay.
to all-
Oh, not like physical flyers, we don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
put
they
it in
drop
the
them off at
newsletter.
the office,
Yeah, so we can drop them off.
they
next year.
post them.
And then, yeah, boost on Facebook, which I think we have done in years past, we didn't this year, but I think in past years we have.
Do they have an Instagram page?
Yeah, see what's there. So the activity notes I had, which were just general comments we had throughout the day, were to sub out caramel apples. Actually it was, one of the officers, Josh, had mentioned, doing a pumpkin cleaning contest, like gutting a pumpkin as fast as you can, for kids or like even teenagers. Possibly purchase less donuts. I mean, I don't mind leaving a box for DPW, they deserve it more than most, so, and then in the future, doing Parks and Rec hot dog station, deciding that earlier versus later. And then highlight line dancing to the schools, cause that seemed to be really popular. And then this is the number of products ordered, 160 pie pumpkins, that was about right, we had about 30 to 40 left over.
I took 21.
Yeah,
from
so-
my students.
Yeah, 15 big pumpkins, half barrel small pumpkins, 20 corn stalks, that's consistent with other years. 100 apples, 250 donuts, you could probably take that down to 150 if we wanted to, 200, and then 8 mums, which are donated from Ronaldo's. Budget, we spent just under $4,000. We had a $500 DDA sponsorship and then $61 for the event donation box. Like I said, the apples, Bill's does a really good price for the pumpkins. Some other things were donated, so our total cost for the event is $3,327.
How's that compare, Rachel, to what we did last year? About the
That's
same?
very similar, yeah, and we budgeted 8,000 in general parks for programs and events, and that was for the Easter egg hunt, which was sponsored by Cups Masonry. And that's, so we still have funds left over that we bring around.
I think for next year, maybe we should try and start earlier to try and find more sponsors, because I know it's in our budget, but still it'd be nice to have money in the budget for.
I think that'd be a really great thing for the funding committee to work on this,
Yeah.
with, is a whole sponsorship pamphlet. So like for
I
all of, like Jamie's brought up, like, so like all of our events we have, and then the bigger items, and then annually, it's just a blast of like, what do people wanna do? So that's my recap. Deanna, do you want me to bring up?
Yeah, sure. I have one thing to discuss, guys, with, what do you guys think about 2 hours instead of 3 hours? That last hour is always kind of late. It's kind of a long time to,
I think it's a long time for people to volunteer, cause like I know a lot of the high schoolers were getting, especially with the heat. Like at the end of 3 hours, just kind of wanting to do other stuff, which is why I think the line dancing was good to have. But I think especially like depending on the weather, 2 hours might be better.
You wanna try it for a year?
Fine with me, it might allow people to get to the Nubs open house too, or any other events that are going on.
So how do you wanna shift it? Where it starts, still continue to start where we're at, and just end earlier, or do we wanna start later?
If you're thinking from a nub standpoint, I'd move it later. Cause
And if we're gonna do a Parks and Rec hot dog stand, people might be hungrier if it's right at that 1 hour.
Noon to 2, something like that.
I think my only questions I would have is making it 2 hours. I support it. 3 hours is long. We actually did this with the sledding events as well. The sledding events used to be longer and we ended up condensing them. My questions would be if we make it 2 hours, to book a band, and if we were to continue with line dancing, how do we break that up? Like, do we just have a band for an hour and then line dance an hour? Do we just book a band for 2 hours? I'm just thinking for like a band to travel, I don't know where Sunshine, like it might be difficult to have someone come out for just 1 hour.
What if we did
And then-
2.5 hours from noon to 2:30, or is that kind of?
But I don't
no, I
think
think that's,
I really mind which way it goes necessarily.
So if we did 2.5, which would allow for 1.5 for a band and then 1 for the line dancing, kind of wrap up. I mean, that doesn't seem,
Well, how we try it?
yeah.
We tried 2.5.
I'll just get a sticker for our banner, probably keep our banner and just change the time that way instead of ordering a new one. Okay. And we said 2 hours?
Mhm.
Okay. So.
2.5.
2.5, we said.
So 11 to 1:30,
2:30. Oh, I thought we said 12.
12 to 2:30?
12 to 2:30. It's probably smarter to go that way too because of the farmer's market,
Yeah.
so.
What about soccer practices? It doesn't really
It
matter.
doesn't
They're
matter,
throughout
good
the
games
day.
are,
Yeah.
I thought we kind of benefited a little bit because there was folks in town for the tournament.
There was just a bunch of home games.
So there was a bunch of
Yeah, there
kids
was,
that were,
yeah.
There were a lot of
Soccer
people that came
uniform.
after soccer
Yeah.
games.
I think the nice thing about if we did an hour, 2.5 hours too, is nothing says if it's really packed, we can't keep.
Okay.
Can't stay. I mean, we've done that over the first year, like, first year we ran out of everything really quick. But even other years, you know, some booths have obviously gone longer than, and some go naturally longer
you
than others
grabbed them a
anyway,
little
like
early,
face
too.
painting or
Yeah.
pumpkin painting can last a little longer. Like Caramel Apples, we easily could have packed up
Oh,
like an
yeah.
hour before everything
Easily.
else.
I think a big part of it is just weather. Like, I think that's gonna be a huge factor.
for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't really like stick around and eat lunch in the 90-degree heat type of day.
And then the other thing for like events wise, one big issue with the donuts was bees.
Yeah.
So I don't know how
We
we
got
would
that with the
prevent that.
apples too.
Yeah, the apples weren't even like as bad, but it was really bad. Like we had people coming over to our station from the donuts and be like, there's bees everywhere. We don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Some of that was the heat too.
Yeah.
Just one more thought too about, how to promote it more. I was thinking about like, what if we had a contest or something? I don't know what it would be with prizes
I like that idea. I think
or
that's
a
a good one.
raffle or, yeah, drawing it thus and such time, be there, just some way to come up with a hype.
I think a contest might be better targeting kids more, because they can
Yeah.
participate rather than them being in a raffle. Like most of the kids don't really wanna sit around and wait for a basket.
Yep.
Watch their friend win, start crying.
Yeah,
There were, was it the same weekend as Downtown Days?
No,
Was
it's a
it
weekend
the
off.
weekend before?
Downtown Days was the same as Book Fest.
Okay. You know what, the reason I ask is that the DDA does a bunch of, they do 2 big baskets that are worth like, like $1,000 a piece. There's
They're
a bunch of
really
stuff in
nice,
there. They were really nice. But this year at least, they sort of did the drawing in the, like, everybody had already gone home. They draw it and then
Yeah.
call the person. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like a big to-do. I wonder if they were gonna do a big baskets anyway, that Fall Fest might be when you could do the drawing and see if people might wanna be there for it.
yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know, they're already doing it in those
Those baskets are huge.
I don't really have any great ideas on what a contest could be.
I mean, you could even do something that people work on before they come, like a pumpkin carving contest or
Yeah.
make your own scarecrow, like get creative with it, or even
Yeah.
a skeleton, and then the winning skeleton gets placed somewhere downtown with all the other ones with the skeletor.
I think either the skeleton or the pumpkin carving idea are really good. I think either of those could work really well. Cause I think
Do you
it
wanna talk
targets,
about it with friends and see if you can come up with some
I can try,
ideas?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that targets like, both target a wide age range.
Mhm.
Like I've seen like teens would carve pumpkins, kids would, adults, like. I think we need to find something that targets a wide age range.
And then we have judges there.
Yeah, and then maybe like we do all of the ages for 1 year and then
Mhm.
going down the line, like if you're going with pumpkin carving, we could do a like. Certain like age ranges, like 12 to 14, like a bunch of different age ranges of a specific contest.
Well, we could have celebrity judges too, like Victor and Steve Kyle.
Yeah.
Scotty.
Yeah, and we have a year, so we can take a lot of these notes to the program committee and allow
Yeah.
them to toy with them for there to bring back to the board early.
But
That's a good
for
idea.
review.
Caleb, think about it though. If there's something that maybe would appeal, let us know.
Yeah, I'll definitely ask. I think
Good spot.
pumpkin carving might be a good way to go, because there's a lot you could do with that. And it targets a lot of people.
Would you be normally carving a pumpkin at the beginning of October?
I mean, we
Now
got
they would
pumpkins
be.
to carve.
Now they would be.
For a contest.
And
Yeah.
the problem with the skeleton is they would have to find a skeleton.
Yeah, those are harder to find than pumpkins. Usually they are out
Surprisingly
everywhere.
expensive.
So I would just say that at Boyer Glassworks, they have this, find a rock and you get a glass pumpkin. And today is the 10th day that people have been looking for these rocks out in front of their shop.
Oh,
And
that makes so much more
every
sense now.
day, dozens of people, so that if we could have you find a little rock and you get some kind of prize that maybe somebody can donate type of a thing, because it's amazing
Mhm.
how many people every single day have been going there searching. And sometimes it's right in front of their nose, but they can't find it.
That's kind of fun, almost like a scavenger
Yeah.
hunt.
Right, that's what
Then
it's
you
like.
bring your rocks, or maybe we try and do something different, so we're not copying them, but.
Well, we just have to think about, what is it, and what do we hide, and what is the prize?
Yeah, people like scavenger hunts, like thinking about like the Waldo, and people tend to really like those, and they make like a day out of it.
But it's been a huge success.
Great.
Yeah, we could just get some of the, what's the name of that, Oriental Trading, get some little plastic pumpkins to hide around town.
Or there's like little plastic skeletons you can get, like small, that you can hide,
Mhm.
and just hide them with like a slip of laminated paper or something.
Shall we, assign that to the program committee?
Yeah.
I think lots of things to think about for the program. But
And then, if you can come up with some ideas with your friends too. I like the contest, and maybe the contest is, a scavenger hunt. Whoever finds the most, little things that are hidden around town, the better, or that are hidden in parks. How about that? Then we get people to go to parks.
I think I think we would benefit from doing both a scavenger hunt and a contest, like contest day of,
Mhm.
kind of having that day something going on, and then the scavenger hunt being a longer amount of time, like a
Yeah.
wider.
Yeah, we could start it ahead of time though, and then, the winner will be announced at 1 o'clock at Fall
Yeah.
Fest or something.
Exactly.
Cool. Here's some pictures. So, I hesitate to even, recommend anything other than Straw Mountain, but I thought this Straw Fortress was pretty cool. If we do wanna,
Kids do that
Yeah, they
anyway.
did kind of make
So I
that.
think to lead them in that direction is almost safer. Like, I actually really like this.
Mhm.
That'd be fun.
I mean,
what do you think?
I said I
Do you
like
this?
this. Yeah, R4 talked the car ride the whole way there, how they were gonna dismantle it and make it. And I was like, let's not.
Yeah, and with Straw Mountain is kids getting their feet stuck. Like that happened a lot when I was just like up and moving hay, and you can like fill all those cracks all you want, but they're still gonna get their feet
And
stuck.
somebody one of these years is gonna get hurt.
And some,
And
yeah,
they
some
will in this
fall.
too, because there's still levels, but it won't be as.
Yeah, no, that'll be
much
better.
structure, Yeah.
I like Straw Fortress. It's awesome.
Well, I don't know if you guys would get out of school, but it'd be fun to have Keith Weber Honor Society or somebody come and help figure out a layout for it, or you guys work on
Mhm.
a way to get you guys involved.
I think rather than like getting out of school, either after school or a weekend day might be better. Cause it's hard, especially for junior year, like getting the upcoming juniors to do something during school is like hard because they miss so much work.
Right.
Well, we're moving this back a little bit. Depending on when we get the hay bales delivered, we could try to figure out some time. for
We
this.
usually get them the week before. The only thing I would say about the straw fort is, so right now we order 300 straw bales. I upped it to 50 upped it by 50 this year. So if we proceed, that's a really good sponsorship opportunity. That's actually the most expensive thing we do for Fall Fest are the straw bales. Shockingly. So if we're gonna do this and there's gonna be more, that'd be a really good sponsorship push.
So, yeah, and then how many would we got? Maybe 300's enough? I don't know.
I mean, usually it's my best guess. I'd probably up it by 50 and the guy we get it from would look at me like I'm crazy. And then we just get it, DPW grabs it usually that weekend before, because the guy we get it from has a day job, so it's usually a weekend deal.
And a catchy name for it that we could put out there too, Straw Fortress or Straw. We can pick that. And the next one is very simple. We could just make up some foam core tic-tac-toe boards and use little pumpkins. Or maybe we've got enough stuff. And these are, then a couple of these are just sort of like carnival games of chance, like knock down the, you know, I don't know if those are coffee cans or what those are.
I think something next to bowling that could, while people are waiting for
Mhm.
bowling, that
Yeah.
they could also do is not a bad idea. And like that knock over the can thing could be right next to the bowling and it'd be just fine.
Mhm.
While they were waiting, because they kind of just battle over there.
And could we have promotions, maybe?
Yeah, do you wanna?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just email that to us.
Yeah.
Then we can pick it apart and find some good fun ideas
I like it.
out of it, cause they all look fun, and we can
I
just.
would like to specifically direct your attention to the cheap and easy fall crafts. That's pipe cleaners and beads. It's so cute. It looks like a little corn cob. And kids just love anything with beads.
Yeah. That would
Young
occupy
and
all
old.
the-
Well, I guess there'd be the issue with little kids, but
Maybe, I mean,
yeah.
all they come with parents.
Especially if we get volunteers on that, like working that station.
Mhm.
And I was looking at the cookies, I think cookie decorating might be a really good.
Fun.
Yeah, something instead of
replace
caramel apples, yeah.
So we have these food rules. So I don't know if we buy store-bought cookies where we wouldn't have like,
That's the health department. I mean, it's kind of like hot dogs, like you're not gonna get anyone sick usually off a hot, so I would ask what they suggest, and they're usually pretty good at working with us, the
Yeah.
health department. They usually give ideas and what they would do for best health practices to make it
I
easier
really
for us
like the
and them.
cookie idea too, and yeah, we can just make up tons of different colored frostings and have little plastic knives and
You can get, I think it's from Gordon's, you can get like seasonal sugar cookies pre-made that you just have to bake. We get them every year and you just have to decorate them.
There's some in our freezer right now.
Yep. And they're really easy and you just
Great
bake them and you can have them all out on a plate and
yeah. That does sound good. And then do they have to be baked in a commercial kitchen? That would be a question for you to check out, Rachel.
I like the idea of another craft besides pumpkin painting though. Like something else to do besides one craft.
But we should keep the pumpkin painting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, the kids were all about.
The kids loved that.
Yeah,
and I love the mix thing, but I think the cookie decorating would be more fun. And we could have baggies if they want to take them home or,
All
that's
right,
what I had.
fun things for promoting. to think about. I love it. Well, great event. Thanks for everybody who for coming out. It was
Yeah,
Really
that
good.
was a lot of fun.
All right, on to setting committee meetings and dates and times.
Sorry, let me slow down. So the doodles are great, but they're not working very well. Only because we're all really busy and to get people on committees to meet, just like I feel like as staff send out a doodle, people can't meet, they're sending out a second doodle. The concept's great, but it's a little complicated for people's schedules. So if there's any way we could, the board could think about setting dates monthly that we meet, or even bi-monthly, quarterly, whatever we want to do. I just feel like if we have committees, we should be using them, utilizing them properly. And meeting in the doodles, it's really on me. I forget we have committees and I don't send it out, and then it's kind of the thing.
You send out the doodle, sometime 2 weeks later, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's true. One thing that might be helpful, Rachel, is if we could have, maybe this only works for me, but if we could have meetings like after this meeting or before
Yeah.
this meeting,
That
that
works too.
that we're already sort of carved out, tonight is the night that we had this thing.
That's
That would
okay.
be helpful. So even if we alternated, like maybe fundraising met, after
Yeah, just do every other.
every other.
That's
Cause
perfect.
I think as a committee, speaking from the programming committee, there's not enough events to meet every single month. I think
Right.
bi-monthly would be.
I agree with that,
If
yeah.
we did every other on the Tuesday that we have board, or that we have our board meeting.
Yeah,
After or before?
I could do before. I think Sarah could probably get here.
we
Right
don't
now.
have to be at 5 or 4.
4:30, 4:30,
something like that, yeah.
4:45, yeah. I just worry about personally doing it after in case this meeting runs
Yeah, I
late
agree.
and then.
I agree with that.
I'm trying to keep these to,
You're doing a great job.
well, I appreciate that, but I do understand that if some of them will run long, and then if you've got another meeting afterwards, it does seem like it goes.
Yeah.
for a while.
That's perfect. It just makes it easier for myself, and I feel like it'll make it easier for everyone else. That way we can work on things more efficiently.
Easier to
Keep it
remember.
moving.
We
But
have
like a sponsorship packet, like, I mean, programs, like the changes and stuff, that's really something the committee should be bringing forward, since we have them.
Yeah.
So,
How about if fundraising committee takes November? Cause we've got some stuff,
the funding, yeah, that's
maybe
fine.
it's a little more
Funding
time
November.
sensitive.
And then we'll do
Funding.
December.
Sounds good.
Rachel, would you be game to send out a note
Yeah.
with what the dates are for the two committees?
Yeah.
Good.
I think that'll work, right?
Perfect.
Anything else on that, Rachel?
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
All right, moving on to old business. Somewhere in here, I wrote a memo because I said I was gonna write a memo.
I read it.
Did you read? the
Great
memo?
memo.
Oh, thank. So it's stuck in here somewhere and, right before the application for public events. I tried to keep it short and sort of sweet for the council to sort of think about what our general recommendations are. Jamie, do you have any thoughts on kind of where that ended up?
I would imagine that it'll go back to council at some point and they'll make a decision.
The best thing I say here is that at least we were asked to do something, we did some work. I think that sort of encapsulates the work that we at least did.
Yeah.
And send it back to them.
My only question for the board would be, and it's not something we discussed because it's not up to the park board, but in addition to this, I believe Victor and I are gonna take the council of closing the roads form for like the school events and all that. That way it all goes to council at the same time, even though it's not something we specifically discussed.
My only question is,
Yeah.
do we go to council with Danny's little summary? Or do we go ahead and take a crack at updating this event on public lands policy? So that there's something that actually could be adopted.
I mean, I think that what we've done so far, or at least give council an update and see if they want us to work harder on it, or if what we provided them was enough.
And I still think the application needs to go to council, because we did add in, these could be assessed after.
Well, we didn't add any, of it.
No,
We
we
suggested
didn't.
it.
But
Yes,
we're
that-
suggesting it, and that would have to go on the application.
And we can just see
So-
what they say to this,
Yeah.
and when you bring it up, you can say, the board's happy to work on the application if you deem that.
I
Appropriate.
am pretty sensitive, I guess, to doing what the council asked us to do and not going beyond what the
Yeah.
council asked us to do, because we've gotten ourselves sort of crossways with them on
Yeah,
some stuff, so I just wanna make sure that they asked us to look at it. We had the discussions, we brought people together. These are, I think this represents
No sense
basically
in
what
doing
it
this.
is. If they don't want us to do it, then
And the applications staff will update. We've updated a couple times since I've been here.
okay.
Pretty
yeah, I think this is a good thing to give to them.
Can I get a motion at least to sort of take this? To approve the memo to send to council?
Sure, I make a motion to take Annie's memo to city council for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. And we'll format it, sign it, send it on its way.
Then we have an actual event to discuss. huh?
Yeah, so do you mind if so this is a great example, and that's why Victor and I decided to bring it to the Parks Board and
You lost your screen.
aha. These pucks, I tell ya.
Yeah, 5 lined up for when each one fails, right?
I don't wanna throw anyone under the bus, but some people may not turn them off after their meetings. So then they're dead. Okay. Let me find the application real quick on here. Okay. So a couple of reasons this is a really great example. So this is someone applying for a wedding in Marina Park, June 19th. Okay, we have had this happen before, and usually that is a casual conversation with myself and the bride, and I kind of scoot them kindly towards Upper Thorn for lots of different reasons. Some of it's beneficial to the wedding party. It's a quieter park, it's more open, for all those different reasons. This bride and groom would like to go to council for Marina Park. So June 19th is a Friday. They're getting married late afternoon. It's about 140 people, so that's a decent sized wedding. They're asking to set up chairs, some music, and then they would take everything down after. Now, we do allow this for our policy, right? They would pay $100 fee, and they would go ahead with this. Marina Park also is different because there are a lot of picnic tables in Marina Park that need to be moved for this wedding. The DPW would have to move and some things organized. They understand that the park is not closed down. It's not, it's a private event, but it's not closed to them. People who could potentially walk through their ceremony. So the questions we kind of have here when we get in these scenarios is, does $100 make sense as a fee for something like this? And although the park is not technically closed, this does significantly change the use of Marina Park for those couple hours. You're assuming setup, the wedding, and takedown, not just the ceremony. So this would be considered a high impact event, in my opinion. I mean, the board may have a different opinion. Should we base this on time of year? So we approve this for June 19th, Friday afternoon, and we say, well, that's not really our peak season, it's not a big deal. But then someone comes and says, well, I want one next Friday, or the Friday, which there'd be music already in the park. But you get what I'm saying, like, where do we draw the line on
I
it?
consider any Friday in summer peak season.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Whether it's
definitely
June,
argue
July
that.
or August,
So,
it's-
so that's kind of why I brought it to you, because it was one of those events where this is where I look at it and I go, this treads something. You
So
know,
is there music in the park on Fridays at this?
not for this,
time of year?
not, it starts the next week or the week after.
So
But you get what I'm saying, like, they could ask for another evening during peak season, it's just, we could do blackout dates, we could say Marina Park's just off for any private
That was
event.
a tough one for me, is making.
Yeah,
Cause I mean, so many people are gonna be walking down there on a Friday afternoon, evening, and then they're gonna see a wedding, they're like, oh, shh, and like, leave, and we don't want people to leave the parks on a Friday evening.
So if we're going off policy alone, we would say yes, but because this is gonna go to council on Monday, because it is high impact. We think the Parks Board, it would make sense to have a recommendation, since this is kind of why we're reviewing it in the first place.
Well, that's all good and all, but we did. Okay. So one thing I think, the memo that we're trying to send to council does sort of address this in some way, because what we're trying to say is that one fee for everything, it doesn't work. You have to work through it. You have to give enough advance notice that staff can work through it. And we specifically say if we're gonna have more impact or staff is gonna be impacted, that the fee of $100, you're gonna have to negotiate it with them because there's, you want the park, fine, this one's gonna be $1,200 or whatever it is, because it does this, and this, and we gotta move tables or whatever. There's just not, we couldn't find a one size fit all, like for every sort of iteration.
I'm iffy on this. First of all, the ceremony is from 4:30 to 5:30, so why did they need it at 2:00 until 7?
They did say they could be flexible.
I'm assuming that's for setup, and just to be clear, their reception is here.
Yeah.
That's why they specifically.
Yeah, it just
asked for
seems like a
rain
lot of slush time after 2 ends of it. I have the same concerns. I just don't know, that's our busiest park in the summer. Whether we should be opening it up, like you could offer, like you said, like Upper Zorn.
And I think it'd be different if it was a different time of year where we have less tourists coming in, but I think that's like kind of peaking or starting to peak.
My rule of thumb has always been when a wedding, because this has happened multiple times, if it's a wedding 50 or over and they're gonna set up chairs, it's just a no. I've made that decision to just say, and I've never like had to explicitly say no and go to, because I've just said like, let me show you our other beautiful parks. And then they've decided, kind of on their own to change it,
But,
by hinting that Marina Park may not be your best option.
Jamie just brought up a good point too, like most rental vendors will not pick up the chairs till the next day.
Right, that
So
was my
that's
other
where
thing,
the
if they
park-
won't, they're not, like, they may not come Saturday or Friday to pick them up.
Right.
And they may not come, they might come Saturday,
And then
and
we
that's
have
the
to-
question I'll ask them.
And then we have to turn off our sprinklers and there's just a lot more. I think that if we allow people to set up chairs, $100 is not enough. If they wanted to have 140 people and they were standing, that would be different than setting up 140 chairs that are gonna get pushed into the lawn.
So why is this headed to council like now?
Cause
Cause
they're
they turned
gonna
in their application.
have to find
So,
another.
but I guess what I'm trying to say is, one of the things that we tried to comment about in this
Yeah.
memo is that we need the applications in early so that staff can work with the
Yeah.
people to figure out a way forward, whether that's cost or chairs or moving it around a little bit or finding a better spot or whatever it is.
Because I did that with her and she wants Marina Park. She wants to take it to council for approval for Marina Park.
Because if we say no, she'll have to find another venue,
Correct.
which could take
Or
time.
Upper Zorn, she's open to Upper Zorn, but she wants to go to council for Marina Park. That's why I told her, I said specifically, if you go to Upper Zorn, this would likely just be staff. And it'd be done. It would be good, but she's interested in also 140. I mean, that's arguably the most we've done. I went back in our records. About 100, I think we had one that was 120. So we've never had a wedding of this size since I've worked here.
She just, on the map, shows that little area right by the pier, and I think 140 people are gonna be a lot bigger than that area. I'd be a no on Marina Park, yes on Zorn.
So could I ask a process question? Was she aware that we were gonna talk about it tonight,
I told her that it would go to council on Monday,
but not
but
that
not to
Parks
Parks
would
Board.
make a recommendation?
I feel like my gut is saying we don't allow Marina Park. It just seems like that is like our main focal point in town with parks, and that's a lot of people out there. And I don't want to crush any bride's hopes and dreams ever, but there just seems like a lot of hoops to jump through to make this work.
I did tell her in my original email to her that it's not common that we approve private events of that size in Marina Park. So I did tell her that, and that's when I brought up Upper Zorn. She said she'd be agreeable to, but she'd like to try for Marina Park. So I don't think this is anything that's gonna crumble the wedding by any means.
So how would this go then? Like, let's say we did have a motion and voted and we said not Marina Park, would you call her and give her a chance to just say Zorn and then it doesn't go to council on Monday?
Yeah, I'll speak to Victor, see what he would like to see, but yeah, it could be that simple, I could say, this is a recommendation to council. If you're still open to Upper Zorn, we can just approve that and sign it now, and then I ask when the chairs, and then we deal with all that.
It's just a really short walk. It doesn't seem like it'd be that big. a
Yeah,
deal.
that's what I was thinking. It's not that far. It's still by the water. I think it's a just as good option.
So it sounds like the consensus from the board here is that Upper Zorn is a better solution for her, for our point of view. It's too many chairs and people right there on a very busy night in Harbor Springs. It's just gonna get it's a bit chaotic, whereas Upper Zorn, you can have the whole thing really to yourself. People aren't gonna bug you. It's a way easier thing to manage for us. And if, I would love for the chairs to be picked up, but if worst case scenario, they get left out. Well, that's different if it's an Upper Zorn than it is right by the dock.
There's farmer's market in the morning, but the next morning.
For DPW to move the tables and the umbrellas at Marina Park. Do they work on
And then
Saturday?
there's no one to move them back on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because DPW is not working. I think that if they can figure out a way to make it less chairs, I would be open.
And there's other benefits to Upper Zorn too, that, I went through with the bride and she understood, there isn't much goose waste at Upper Zorn. Like, you could argue it's a much cleaner park. I mean, Marina Park's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's not detailed as much. It's just kind of a more open, cleaner green space to have that such a ceremony.
And by June 19th, we're working dock at that
Yeah.
point. Like the marina is open and
Right.
and taking boats
Okay,
and
okay.
and
I
people
feel
are
like-
moving.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
working dock.
It opens up a can of worms too, if a bunch of people see a wedding there, they're like, oh, I want to get married here, and then it's
Yeah,
like.
And I think
whoa.
it's important to note, this is very consistent with other municipalities, that there's usually a park or an area that they don't allow this type of thing, or there's blackout days, like that's not unheard of. We looked at their other policies, Petoskey's and Charlevoix, so it's not off base
But
to say there's another park that works better for these events.
absolutely, and I to be clear though, we don't have a policy against it yet. There's not a city policy against having a wedding in Marina Park. Council should maybe think about that, but that's not something we have on the books right now. I think if you can work with the bride to figure out Upper Zorn makes a lot more sense for us. So our recommendation sounds like is to tell council, we'd rather it be in Upper Zorn. Marina Park is really difficult to have a wedding at, and particularly the location.
I think that we need to specify that if you're setting up chairs, the chairs have to be taken down that day,
But I agree, but if,
No
I-
matter
I-
where.
no matter where.
that's what.
Especially if you're only paying $100.
Yeah, and I don't
Venues
think
are
we'll
much
have-
more expensive than that.
I don't think $100 is necessarily enough, only because, 140 people using the beach bathrooms if they have it at Zorn or.
I think they're gonna want the Marina Park because the reception is at the pier. And I think we should charge them a lot more money.
Yeah. I also have concern that wedding parties oftentimes bring their own
It's-
coolers.
It's not necessarily, that too, it's not necessarily but the thing is, there's no one to come in on the weekend and move those tables back. DPW doesn't work weekends. So they won't be coming in. I don't think for their union contracts, that's something we could even request, they do. So that's when it gets kind of iffy. Of, the sprinklers being shut off, the tables being moved, it's not a sense of like, we don't want it. And it's just DPW simply as a cure.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of
This points out though,
yeah,
this points out one of the things that I think we're trying to get
Yeah.
council to understand, which is these applications need to come in early.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot of staff work to get them before they get to council. And it feels like, and I guess, Rach, to me, this feels rushed to get to council to sort of, I know that it's apparently coming from the applicant, they wanna get it to council. But there's so many questions in this that it makes it unlikely to me that it's gonna be successful at council.
I
Because there's
think,
just so many questions.
I don't think
Right.
any amount of time is gonna make any of us. differently.
I think we should give council our recommendations, but with questions like, do we want to allow weddings in Marina Park? Do we
Yeah.
want to set a number? Like,
We
you
need
can
like
have a wedding but you can't set up more than 60 chairs, or, like, what does council want us to talk about to set a policy?
It'd be nice to have some sort of like almost formula where it's like, is it high impact? Are you setting up chairs? Is it above 100 people? And as it ticks up, the price is going up, just like some of those packets we saw that
Yeah.
you sent a few months ago.
Our impact right now states if it significantly changes the use or space of the park,
Which it would if there were chairs.
It does.
which it does.
Yeah.
It has to go to council. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But that's our
I think it,
recommendation.
to your point, I think it'd be nice to ask council, do
Yeah.
you really wanna have events?
And
at
it's,
Marina
and I
Park?
get it, it is rough, it's just the perfect example
Of why
of
we-
that gray spot. That's why I brought it, is like, you don't get many of these where it's very like, wonky.
And I appreciate that, I
Yeah.
really do. I hate to, if somebody,
Right.
we could work with people, we could talk to them, we could take more time to try to understand what they need and try to find and accommodate some places, not in Marina Park, but to try to get them to go someplace else. But I also hate making a decision as a board without, without a person here that we can ask questions to or other sorts of things.
Well,
So
and
that
at-
makes me feel.
I agree with that. At one point, we also talked about like, what if we had a lottery and we allowed 2 weddings a year and there were blackout dates?
We could do the drawing at Fall Fest.
Must be present.
Present to win.
Make their budget off that.
Yeah.
They lottery away a wedding with a reception up till a certain amount, not
Yeah.
like midnight or anything. And they allow that in a park space and it's, I think that's
Good
just like
idea.
any other venue. And it's a lottery and like people will pay,
I
I
think
can only imagine.
Oh, I think that's.
Do we need more discussion though about like how many we want per year and do we wanna like just take Marina Park out of the formula? Like maybe this is a longer discussion just on a general basis.
And I think after council's meeting,
Yeah.
we'll get more information, then we can discuss more.
Yeah, council hasn't asked us they've asked us to review the policy. They haven't necessarily asked us to sort of
Rewrite it,
figure out
yeah.
what weddings should be where and all the other stuff, and I'm hesitant to sort of.
Well, part of the
Get too
policy
far
that
in
would
it.
be like where we would have them and how often we'd have them. So those would be missing pieces. Maybe
Yeah, I
in the
think-
Memo, like, do we hold off on the memo for a minute,
I think
get that incorporated?
No,
we
sorry.
should. I think because if it has to go to council on Monday, I think we have to say something. Because I don't think council's going to think through it this in depth.
Yeah.
So I would say we should recommend that Marina Park is not our first choice. We think it should be at Upper Zorn.
For
And
these reasons,
Now,
yeah.
yeah, and
the
tagging on
size.
to Jamie saying, or I think Jamie saying, I think
Yeah.
I'm wrong. The other positive of bringing it to council early is because it is a great, it does fit our policy, Jamie's absolutely right, like, if we had to go policy alone, we would approve it. But since it is a gray area, it gives the bride and groom time to come to that council meeting, council ask questions, and then go back, like, we have so many months. You know, if they had brought, and I told her, like, thank you for bringing this out, cause
Yeah.
like, if she brought this in May, this would have been a much bigger discussion. So I think we do have time. I don't think council needs to make a decision Monday. If they have questions or they have, and they say go back to part and figure out this way for a couple months or whatever they may decide to do, that's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think people who have business in front of the board or council should have an opportunity to address that business with the board or council. We don't have that opportunity tonight because they're not here to do that. I think in general, what we're trying to say, Rachel, I think what the board is sort of saying is this is too many chairs for Marina Park,
Yeah.
right, where we're talking about, we're a working dock at that point in the summer. And this is disruptive of that park, and so we would not recommend that this is the best spot for that wedding.
And just some problems with DPW work,
Right.
moving the tables and the sprinklers.
Right, from a staff point of view, it's happening on a weekend where we don't have coverage for staff to come and move tables and do the other things that are required there without
We don't
extra
know when the
cost.
chairs would be removed, yeah.
So there are lots of questions. We just, for the size and the amount of effort that would take the staff to accommodate this wedding, it's not the right spot or the right time of year to do it in Marina Park. Upper Zorn, seems like a great solution for them. Happy to continue to work with them to figure that out. On a side note, from council while they're at it, is this something they want us to
Into
look
further
into and try to figure out
That's fair.
a policy
Yeah.
about sizes?
Specific parks, blackout days. like,
Well, and I
yeah,
think-
all that.
I think it also, there's something to be said about, you know, they're a wedding, so they're applying a year before.
Mhm.
And like the chamber hasn't submitted their schedule yet to
Right.
council for approval, and so is council gonna say, hey,
This
chamber,
is a deadline.
does this, you know, conflict with anything you have going on, or are we just going to approve? Could we potentially approve something and then have the chamber be like, oh, but we usually use the park that day? And so like, that's the only problem I see a little bit in like people applying a year ahead of time versus a lot of our other events that only apply.
Yeah,
few
and it's
months.
another good reason for not Marina Park, and that there's a higher likelihood that the band's gonna wanna use it in Marina Park. We're gonna have somebody else is gonna apply for that Friday
It
night.
actually is a community.
That it's a community
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
and we just don't know what it is.
Our policy that we, it
Prioritize.
doesn't say favor, it says, yeah, prioritize annual nonprofit events. So let's do a motion. So I have it for council.
Annie?
Basically what you said.
All the stuff.
So moved.
I don't need, I don't need all the, I got the chairs, like all the reasons for it, if council asks.
Right,
But-
so our recommendation to council is that we go back to the applicant and recommend that Zorn Park is perhaps a better fit for their event. And that we discourage council from approving the event in Marina Park, the wedding in Marina Park on.
For the following reason.
And then for the
I
following
think it
reason.
could even be. Parks Board does not recommend approval of this event. from Marina Park.
That's fine.
Thank you.
All in favor of that, something,
Aye.
or whatever that worked out to be? All opposed? Okay. I think, Rachel, if on those sorts of things, like if we're gonna make a decision about something, it would, just from a board point of view, if we can have,
Make sure they know.
make sure they know, we're just from a public policy standpoint, just to make sure that they're aware. They could zoom in, like, at least that they're aware that we're gonna talk about it, cause I feel like I think we're fine, it's just a little unfair.
Can you make sure that, like, in your memo to council that says what we just said, that it does ask the questions, like, if they want us to
Look at these
explore,
things, yeah.
like, the actual policy further?
And the fee, I think the fee really needs to be, because I do not think 100 is enough, especially for,
No, I
Like,
think
no,
that's-
Scott just made a point that, they're probably gonna pay $200,000 for the wedding at the pier. And then we're gonna get $100,
They do it all the
Yeah,
time.
That
pier
many
does it all the
people?
time.
They close the entire restaurant, they buy
Insane.
it, they'll do a buyout.
So I do think though, again, and Caitlin, I think you make a great point that that's sort of we're kind of at a bare minimum dollar amount there. I just don't know how to set like a specific, dollar amount for these events, which I think is why we kind of need to negotiate each one.
I agree, I think there
That-
should be intervals, like if it's this high impact, then it needs to be a certain amount. Like, I think 100 is fine, but for like less chairs, less people, less of an impact, like different locations should be different costs. I think it's just big on negotiating
Makes
what
sense.
kind of and what the whole
I
wedding
think
entails.
1,000 would be better.
Sarah, just so we have her comment. She said, other thoughts about the packet, $100 seems like a steal to rent space for a wedding. That being said, $100 doesn't feel like that much, something for like a family reunion. I wonder if it's possible to state something along the lines of a suggested donation with a minimum of $100. That may also get mucky, but just thought of a way to generate revenue or encourage support for other projects.
Yeah, I just think we need to be realistic about what the cost is to the city. Try to negotiate in good faith with the applicants and try to come up with a good.
Well, and technically, like for this situation, it would impact the use of the park Friday, Saturday and Sunday because the tables wouldn't get moved back.
Right.
And so to even say it's impacting the park 3 days, it's $300.
The applicant won't be at the council meeting.
I'd just like to go back to our earlier motion about, sending this to council right now, there's a section in here about event fees and services. I just wonder if we need to have more talk and.
They
be a
haven't
little
asked
more
us to
specific.
though.
Sorry,
They haven't asked us to talk about changing the fees or anything yet. They just said to have a discussion on it.
I think it's good to get councils, like, is this what you had in mind? Do you want more? Before we do too much work.
okay, it just feels incomplete to me, or,
I get where you're coming from, but I can't speak for everyone else on council to say if this is something that they're even concerned about.
okay.
I think we have plenty of time to
I think their questions
dive deeper.
on this application will really help us.
Yeah.
On where they
Yeah.
want, because I think this is the big one. Is when it's private events like this.
Okay. On to tree board Parks and Recreation joint meeting. We talked about this. And we decided if we were needed to have a joint meeting, we were happy to do a joint meeting. And then Rachel passed along a message, I think, from Victor that maybe came from council that he would like us to have more joint meetings, which is fine. Is there an issue? Is there something that we can meet with the tree board on that would be helpful? How about that?
This is what I said in my note to you is, I don't think there's anything at this time. I think I went back and listened to your last meeting and, I think we were pretty clear. Let's wait until we have a master plan and then, we'll take it to tree board.
Okay.
So,
And then if we need to have a joint meeting in a few months or whatever.
yeah, I think it's a great idea to have one at some point. I think it would make more sense and a better use of time if we, had something to actually talk about.
So I would suggest to come back to tell Victor that we're happy to meet with tree board. And we want to make sure that our meeting is sort of impactful and has like, that we're addressing
something
things, we
to
have
talk
something to
about.
talk about, and so we're gonna keep ourselves open to make sure that we can do that. And be helpful when we can be helpful.
Yeah, there's just no point of meeting when there's nothing to talk about.
Caitlin is right
A
on.
meeting that could have been an evening.
If we worded it differently to say, come back to tree board when we have. Either a master plan for the park or when we start discussions about our revamp of our parks and recreation master plan.
That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
that's it. Yeah.
That way it's very specific.
That's very fun. And I wanna make,
As well as individual parks for.
Sure.
working on
I think
master
it
plan.
came from the DDA. And there were some comments about collaboration with boards and planning and making sure everyone's plans align. So council seemed to be seeking more collaboration between the boards, and one of the only ways to do that is to do a joint meeting.
I think collaboration is awesome and we should do it when it is effective and meaningful. But to me, just to me, it just seems silly. So
I agree. Yep.
we got plenty of on our plates.
The good stuff.
All right, on to C. Chomping at the bit for it. We've got a floor plan from Mark, which was, came earlier today. So one of the things as from the outset, I do want to say before we, because this wasn't noticed, and I'm being a little particular tonight, I guess, about notices because it wasn't noticed to folks and we just sort of got it today. If we're gonna get too deep in the weeds, I think we need to hold off and have a more discussion when the public can be invited and have that sort of thing. However, that being said, because we got it, and I think it is Mark's attempt to respond to our conversation that we had last week. I think a little discussion here about if we're, if it reflects what we think, what we thought, if we have some other ideas, is perfectly fine. I just don't want to get too deep in the weeds without something that's been noticed.
So maybe we make the purpose to be to come up with questions for Mark at this point.
But yeah, well, let's start
We're
with,
not making decisions, we're just coming up with questions.
yeah, let's start with sort of general impression of what we've got here. But I think, yeah, we can ask, we've got some questions we can ask for sure.
My only question is, I don't remember the specific conversation, but I feel like there's more doors than we had.
I asked him that as well. So, yes, because we talked about for like, sometimes last access is best, especially when you have rentals and they have keys. So that north door is an emergency exit, which he's saying we need. Because you have to have a door and exit so many, I don't know, square feet away for space. But what he did say, what I can't remember from the meeting, and I apologize, I should have gone back today and rewatched it. Is for some reason, I remember us going between the north and the south as the main door, because what he can do is get rid of the south door and make that back to a window.
I feel like
I think we need this out.
Or we just leave the north door an emergency exit and it's
Which is
just,
locked from the
and it's just
outside.
locked from no one gets a key to it, yeah. Yeah,
I prefer that and leave the,
yeah,
south.
I'm fine with either way, but just, that's just for an emergency exit purpose, because I had the same question.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too.
But just, yeah, it just will be a rental key.
Right.
And then it's just, just a push.
We'll barely ever get open.
that's fine. I
Yeah,
feel like we specifically cut it
Yeah.
down on
Yeah.
doors.
I felt the same way when I saw it, because I'm counting
we
three
need
main
the-
doors plus the garage, the
Well,
patio slider,
We need The
whatever.
west side door, if we have sliders and a garage door on that side,
The only problem is winter,
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
windows don't have that thing open, so.
but
the sledding.
then you come in the south side entrance where you hang all your winter stuff up anyways.
Is this the Kiwanis building that's gonna
Yes.
go?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry.
What if we took away the south door by the coat corner and move a window there, but put the coat corner on right by the west door? So then we have, cause I feel like that's assuming, is that where the sled hill like
Yeah.
dumps out to? So I think that might be better. Cause I see more people coming in that door anyway, and I just think that it's gonna be like not useful to have a door on the south side.
I agree with that, cause I think that we had discussed that logically. I mean, and we haven't talked a lot about the driveway and parking
Yeah.
situation, but the parking lot is more on the north
It's
side.
closer to.
Versus, so if you're like carrying in your casseroles or
So like
whatever.
if you're bringing food in from the parking lot, you have to come all the way over here to bring it in, otherwise you're unloading right here.
I think about the drop off looped out as being like here, closer to the south door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so if we got rid of the south door, then,
No, I'm saying that south door to me is more important, because that's where the drop off.
yeah,
That's what she
yeah,
said.
that's what I'm saying,
Oh, and
So
then,
keep this outdoor, get rid of the west door.
yeah.
but I think the west door, well, okay. I think the west door is important for sledding though, because we're not gonna be going in and out of sliding doors.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's okay as it is.
I think it is. I
Just
think
leave
it's
that one
okay
locked,
too, but
yeah.
if you wanna change it, I'm fine with that too, it's really,
I would maybe just go back and listen to
yeah.
I
the,
did today.
and I just don't remember what we had discussed at the last meeting.
I mean, we don't have to get rid of any doors,
No.
right?
Yeah.
We don't have to.
No, we had just talked about it being harder to secure when there's more doors.
I was looking at windows. Can you guys
That's
kind of
what
see
we-
where the windows are?
No
Yeah,
matter
it's the
what.
black, right?
And that will
Yeah,
always
yeah.
be closer, so.
I think the
So
windows are fine.
I kind of like the windows, something on the parking lot side, just so it's not such a blank.
Where the storage and mechanical is. or-
There's windows.
No,
in the
there
kitchen.
other side
Yeah,
of
there
the
are
same.
windows in the kitchen.
In the kitchen there are.
And bathroom,
Mhm.
the unisex.
There's 3 windows on that side.
And then, I like the windows kind of by that corner where they are right now.
I also,
And then, I do really, really like the idea of a couple sliders, like
Yeah.
two big sliders where they open this way, so
Yeah.
we could have it open. I really like that better than the garage door.
Yeah, he said you can change that easy enough.
Yeah, and I like that window to the north of that, just to let more light in that far end of the building.
I just think this is already gonna be a lot better than what we have, just for space wise,
For sure.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be a huge upgrade.
I don't think we need, do you think we need windows on that, north side? I can't tell if he's, it looks
Yes.
like he's got a couple in there.
Only because the beach bathroom restrooms are dark.
Yeah.
Like, they're dark, so we don't have
Maybe
something.
these are like,
Yeah, they're just,
Trans-
yeah, I think they're just one.
Rachel, could you ask that question though? Will these be transom?
Well, and I think when we
Bathrooms.
get elevations too, I think that we'll have a lot of these.
Yeah.
too.
I think looking at it, he did a good job taking our suggestions
I do
and
too.
concerns and bringing it
Yeah.
to life.
So we've added significantly more space,
Yeah.
for, which is what we asked for. The kitchen with an island, which is, I think we asked for without the doors. We've moved the storage and mechanical to that far corner, which is what we asked for, the unisex bathroom that goes out to the playground side, with the door that way is, we asked for that. We couldn't get around having both of those bathrooms, but now they're on the far end, kind of away from where the kind of rest of that stuff is happening.
And then Mark did say we do really need that little access hall between them, like they shouldn't
Yeah.
open out into the common area.
Which made sense after you.
And then does anybody know what that little thing is in that kind of hallway?
It's a drinking fountain.
Yeah, drinking.
Ours outside the building is, I think.
I think it's good.
Does he feel this is within the budget?
That I don't know.
He feels it can be, yes, I mean, it's
That's
so difficult to say right now. It really is. I mean, we could have a local the good thing about this project is people love the Kiwanis building. That'll be on our side. Is that a lot of local contractors are attached to this building and usually that works in a city's favor. But it's just,
And it's definitely in need of an upgrade, just doing, like, I did a lot of the sledding and s'mores events last year, and just space wise, it was difficult, especially for the kitchen area. To have enough space to do stuff and store stuff. And I think this is just gonna be like something that's needed, especially if we're planning on doing upgrades to, I was like looking at the plan, if we're planning on like doing the magic carpet and adding potentially more stuff onto Kiwanis, a bigger building is gonna be needed.
I had a couple of questions on the kitchen. I did look online for, what these kitchen or what the outlets are gonna look like in the island, and it's such a bummer. I really wish we could like stick them on the side. But I guess for code, we can't anymore. So it seems like there's two options where you can have something that pops up. Or a little tray that comes down. So that's something to be worked out in detail. I listened again, as I said, did we ask Mark if we could have like an electric range? I know he was saying no on the gas.
He was saying like a hot plate.
Like a warm-
Yeah, like a warming.
Like a warming.
Which you can get, a warming oven, and then you can get like bigger hot plate almost type things.
I just go back to thinking about like if this is gonna be rented out for like wedding receptions and something like that, I think we have to like not just think about our events, like.
But I think the concern is if you add stoves and it becomes a commercial kitchen, there's a lot more we're gonna have to do and we're never gonna stay within budget.
And even adding an oven or traditional stove, like you would be converting electricity voltage, which could come up with code issues because so much of this is already grandfathered in. So
So what I heard is that maybe we would do like an induction cooktop and a warming thing,
yeah,
electric warming thing.
I guess
So we
just
just need to make sure that's
just
in the final.
specify what the most we can have without
Yeah.
Yeah,
it becoming commercial.
Yeah, I think there is
and we
certainly.
need to make sure we've got somewhere to put the microwave,
I think there should be more window space behind the kitchen there, more light in there.
there's two windows.
I spend a lot of time there,
two windows.
yes, we do. Here,
like right in here.
Yeah, there's
so
two
this is a
windows.
window here, this is a window here.
Oh, there's a
It's
window?
really hard.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
these are all windows,
Yeah, I can see that. I didn't see these.
Yep. window,
All right.
then these are, there's windows here and here.
Not clear, yeah.
The other thing, I think warming would be more beneficial than having an oven because of cost, and I think people will mainly have stuff cooked. It's just keeping things warm will be the issue, and if we have outlets and we have just like something to keep stuff warm, I think that'll be plenty.
And I think there is
But
something,
6 pizzas, you're not gonna get in the warming oven.
Yeah, I
But-
mean,
So I think again, like whenever we talk to next, the most we can get at, most bang for a buck for like a cooktop or stove would be good.
I think one of the dangers that we have is that this isn't a place, we're not creating a place where people will actually make the meal. So this is not a home kitchen where we'll actually we want to make sure that people are bringing stuff, they warm it, they got this is not like a commercial kitchen.
If you make it so that people can make stuff, you're gonna run into issues where you have to have triple sinks, you have to have,
Well,
all of
they
this
leave it
other
a
stuff.
mess too.
yeah.
And so Jamie, what do you think would happen though if somebody was having a wedding reception here and it was being catered?
The caterers would bring in all their stuff. They're gonna have, if they're actual caterers, they're gonna have the equipment of. That they
Warming oven?
own, yeah,
They're gonna have a warming oven.
they're gonna have like Alto Shams or
We're
whatever
asking for
they,
them to put a warming oven in this kitchen, so they won't have
But
to
the
bring the
caterers
warming.
will have all that stuff. I mean, I catered weddings where there was zero electricity and they have all the stuff that they need to make it happen.
and I think too, if somebody wanted to rent this for a wedding, there's so many like food trucks that cater weddings, that could be an
Fun
option.
anyways, yeah. Let's see, do we wanna see a deck at this point or
Probably decided on a patio. at the
a
last
patio?
meeting.
Okay, yes, right.
I guess, yeah, he changed it to
I
patio.
think a
Good
patio is
day.
better than a deck.
I think when
What'd
it
you
comes
say?
to, I don't know how long until we actually put it to bid, but I think that potentially that might have to be an alternate.
Yeah.
For now, just because of price.
And these are all decisions that we'll have.
I mean, there are a couple of things that are going to be, the expansion will be an alternate.
Yeah,
Yeah, the patio can be an alternate.
So what does he need from us right now? Just, we like. the
What we're
plans?
doing.
Okay, I didn't know if we have to be like, we're good or.
I don't think we're not looking to bless this at this point, just to sort of.
I think the only comment would be, you know. If our next meeting is gonna be where we might, you know, notice it, maybe take out the garage door and sell sliders or something. I think that's the only thing that we've
Yeah.
discussed to be changed.
I think garage, or I think sliders instead of a garage door would be.
So I will ask Mark then to bring a final layout with elevation. Whatever else is needed to the Parks Board for a final recommendation. And we'll take it to council.
it would go to
It's
planning.
gonna go to council first, just so we don't run into a hiccup. And then it'll go to planning commission, it's a little wonky. Planning commission, then it'll go back to council. But it should go to council first, just so if there's any questions or anything they have, we have those all hashed out, we're gonna go, like, planning commission's only looking at the meat. We code them. That's all they're,
And Mark gonna estimate this,
yeah. You should,
so when,
he gets there.
will he come back here first?
I could ask him to come back, or I can just bring him, or just have him on Zoom or something.
I think we.
Well, or do we need to notice it and have something at Parks Board before it goes to council, do you know what I mean?
What?
Like have it noticed,
What is
so
our
if people
public,
wanna come here to look at it.
what is our plan on if we have to do anything else?
Like with public approval of this, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Like public input on
I
these
mean, we're not
plans?
going for grants, we don't need a public hearing.
Right,
Um,
but we established like what we should do as best practices for all of the different designs, and I don't know if, if we should have an open house
I think we
and
should do something.
allow the public to come and see what's going on, before it goes to council for final approval. I
But
don't-
we would need our final plans before we do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I still need a recommendation from Parks Board before.
So a couple of things. One, I think going back to Mark and saying that I think this layout generally with the sliders and, included, like where things are here, the Parks Board is happy and he should move ahead with elevations based on kind of this general layout. Cause I think that's kind of what he was asking us a little bit, like before he starts to sketch out the elevations.
Like
We need
is
to make sure this
council
info
gonna
looks like-
wanna have some type of public input though before it comes to.
But I think, I don't know when our first sledding event is, but like that could be an open house
Where we put the plants
where
up.
you have a poster board and people can, do the sticky note and leave their comments, or then they'll actually see it and then they can come to council.
I was thinking it would be, we'd be to council before sledding.
I don't know when the first sledding event is, January.
It's in January.
So January tenth.
It's hard to say because if council doesn't like it and has to send it and sends it back to parks, then we're already in December.
Well, I do, so overall, I think it's that Dana and Jamie are right, that the public does need to weigh in at some point as part
Do
of this
we
process.
take it to council before we do our final approval, just to get their input? And then
What are
they'll
they
see it
looking at, I
again.
guess, what would council look at?
I guess that's why we're gonna do I guess that was our staff's thought with doing a parks recommendation and then going to council before the planning commission.
Right,
That's kind of that middle, what else do you need? Do you feel, like, if there is public, I just don't want this to turn into, let's be honest, every other project, where at the last minute, like, we have someone that loses their mind.
I agree with you, but that's why I feel like the sooner we can get it to council, even
Right.
if it's a draft.
If they're on the same
But
page.
technically, a recommendation from the Parks Board is a draft,
Yeah,
technically. So if Parks Board, so if Mark gets these ducks in a row, sends Parks Board does a recommendation, it goes to council. And, we advertise it and then council, there's some comments or councils have, enough questions where it dictates going back or doing a public hearing or waiting, or we might get crickets.
Yeah, so I
don't know.
What if we did this? What if, our November meeting? First see if Mark can, get this change incorporated and get the elevations done. And we go over it and we public notice it. And I don't know whether we say, maybe we do a Parks Corner saying, please come to, Parks Board in November to give us your ideas about Kiwanis updates. So then when we go to council, we would have.
I just worry that that's after the election, that's the end of November. December is really not the time to take this kind of stuff to council necessarily, because it's budget season and CIP, and I just worry that waiting to put it in front of council is going to delay the project.
So is your
If we
suggestion
wanna have
to
a
take,
special meeting, there'd be another.
I think we should get it in front of council as soon as we can. I don't know if it's too
I mean, we just got
late
it
to
today.
get it to them on Monday. But if not, then the next, which is before our next parks meeting.
I guess my question to the Parks Board is elevation gonna change anything for you?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I don't think it will.
is elevations and all of that, like, or is this layout, I mean, all we're asking right now is from to change garage door to slider.
Right,
I guess that's my question to the Parks Board, is,
I don't think it's a big deal though, Rachel. He's got all this built into his system.
I think, again.
I'm
I
just saying
think
if
the
Jamie wants us to go to
sooner
council. she
it
thinks
can go
that's-
to council, the better. Or the following Monday, because if it can go to council before our next meeting, then we can officially send it to planning commission. And then it goes back to council.
I can't send it to planning commission until we have the elevation and everything. so I
Right,
think
for
we'll
that,
have
we could have that for the next. Our
Our
November
next
meeting.
so what you're saying, Jamie, is you'd like council to bless this,
I think they should at least see it.
Sooner rather than.
And so there's another reason not to do public opinion first is what if council doesn't like it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you just,
writing in an
Yeah.
article in the paper and saying, come and do it and whatever, and then council says.
This is just council's first stamp of like, yeah, we like the direction you're going in.
everything that goes to council gets more public comments anyway than this board. And that's gonna, what do you mean? Put us ahead of it if they want us to change it, because
So then my question would be, is there a reason to take it to council before we take it to planning commission?
I think you should take it, yeah.
So then take it again.
I don't think you have to take it to council unless there's a lot of changes before it goes to planning.
So if he can change the slider,
Yeah.
our suggestion would be as soon as we can get on the council docket, now that may not be next week, but it could be the week after. That we would like council to look at this diagram. And the way that the way that Mark has drawn and programmed this building. And give us,
I feel like I don't wanna see elevation.
well, we all do, but I don't know if that's.
But if they can get a first glance at this, none of them have seen it yet, and then we can kind of make.
That's
sure
my
we're
biggest concern.
Heading in the right
That's
direction.
my concern too, if they haven't seen it, and then all of a sudden we're building.
To take it to too many council meetings.
Yes. If we don't take it until after we approve it and then they don't like it,
Then
then
we've wasted all of our time.
we're months behind.
Yeah.
That's all.
But we've also gotten chewed out for going to council where we've had incomplete information.
I don't think that this is incomplete.
Well.
We're not asking for an official stamp. We're just saying, what do you think?
Are
Well,
we going
Rachel,
the right
could you
direction?
check with Mark tomorrow, like, tell him we're really excited, could you change the garage door? And how big a deal would it be to get elevations done? We're trying to go to council,
I guess my
Monday or 2 weeks from Monday.
My concern is going to council with elevations before we
We
look
need
at
to see
elevations. Then maybe put this in a box we don't wanna be.
Told me this morning, he will not send elevations out to anyone until they're perfect. So he's actively working on them, but he could have sent them today for our meeting too, but they wouldn't have meant anything because they weren't. correct.
It,
They weren't
it
done.
sounds like our recommendation at least is that if he cleans up this drawing with the garage, swaps out the garage door. That we'd like to ask Victor and staff to get it in front of council as soon as they can in this version. So we can get their input as to whether or not they think we have hit the mark before we go too much further. And the idea is to try to get them to look at it, understand we've made progress, and to give us some input that we can then work with.
And that's great. I do want the board to know I will be in Hawaii on Monday, so I will not even zoom in to the council meeting.
Sounds awesome.
So Jamie, do you feel comfortable going over it with council and then just kind of heading the conversation?
Yeah, and who knows? I know Victor's gone this weekend too, so it might be too late for Monday.
Okay.
But I would like council to see it before our next meeting, so we know if we have to address
They
anything.
allow you to do like a parks board, they'll insert password, I don't know. So
I can
we'll just see what happens.
I can-
Yeah.
Will you make copies of this?
Yeah.
Or once he
Once it
gets,
comes-
yeah, and just at least have it for the meeting, so even if it's not on the agenda, I can give it to them
That'd be
when
good.
I do my parks.
Jamie, I do want to carve out enough time for council to actually like look at it and give feedback on it as opposed to, because if it comes as part of the Parks Board report, sometimes it's like oh, yeah, and then they move on.
Yeah,
And I don't want them to get caught,
yeah.
behind not giving input or feeling like they.
But if we put it in front of them, even in this capacity with the report, and then it's on the November 1st meeting, then they've at least seen it
They've
and
seen
had
it.
2 weeks to look at it.
I agree.
Whether they spend that time or not.
That's up to them.
Well, and what if Mark, I hate to keep coming back to this, but what if he was able to get elevations done before then? Would people be willing to have a special meeting so that we could look at them and then? Like I listened to like Kathy Mitchell doesn't seem to be like a real visual person. I think like for her to actually see the building, it's gonna,
It won't.
not for Monday.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
assuming would not be Monday just because it's too.
I mean, if he were to get elevation before, like if it doesn't go to council till November 3rd. And he were to get you elevation before then, we could hold a special meeting so that we can send it all to council.
I am definitely open to that if that's where we end up. I think we need to make sure council sees this first.
Yeah,
Not wait for elevations for that to happen. But if we get elevations before and what seems like a good pace that we would have a special meeting, that sounds fine to me.
I just would hate to wait.
So
till-
do you feel like at this point,
February.
then it would just be a casual hand on this? No PowerPoint, no nothing like that.
Correct. I mean, depending on if it gets on the agenda on Monday. I just think getting their initial opinion is only gonna speed this process up and we really wanna get it out to bid.
Agreed.
if we wanna get it done next year.
I think if they want to, if they have a different opinion than where we're at now, we need to know now.
Yeah.
As opposed to in November.
I don't know, if we can get on the agenda, I think it would be nice to have somebody, if Rachel's not here, you or I walk them through. You know, what they're looking at here, like here's the sledding hill.
Well, let's
here's the
wait and see.
parking lot.
Let's wait and see if we can get on
Work
the
with
agenda.
Victor and we'll try to figure that out. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. My guess is it might be too late.
That is my guess too, but that there is another meeting and we can make sure we're at that one too, so.
I don't think I need a motion for that. I know.
The November meeting is a 12 o'clock meeting, just
fine.
an FYI.
But we can make a motion to, pass the preliminary drawing on to council as approved.
Is there a second?
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi,
All opposed? All right, what we'll do. All right.
Yay.
Any public comment on the agenda items? Seeing no public comment, Park Director report, Rachel?
Yeah, pretty quick. We plan to take Shea Park, master plan to the planning commission in November. We're kind of waiting for it not to be a zoning public hearing meeting, so we're not really in a big, huge yank for it. That'll be going, and if we can take Shea Park and Quantic at the same time, that's even better.
Or is it?
Yeah. We currently sit at $2,000 in the bank for fundraising, but we do have $1,000 pledge. Quantic plans, we've already just went through that. I don't know if you guys saw our skeleton at the beach.
Yeah.
Her hand fell off, but we taped it back together. Okay. I met with the new athletic director, with Harbor Springs Public Schools. His name's Chris. He's awesome. If you haven't met him, he's super cool. He's a U of M fan, so I'm biased, but, so we talked about, kind of the gap that we have, in our community, and you know, our gap is that we don't really partner with the schools, and that's rare for Parks and Recreation to not partner with schools more besides volunteering and that great stuff. So we talked about a lot of different things. He was really open to athletic clinics, sport camps, just like a couple hour like camps around like 6 weeks to get the athletes out there. The potential for, you know, joint grants, if we did want to put pickleball courts down by the tennis courts on their property, like what the opportunity
Let
would
us
be.
strike the,
You won't,
Yeah.
you can't because it's permanent. Yeah,
but you can, because Petoskey has their strike.
not all of them, they don't hold the same tournaments. And then, like property usage overall, like the stadium, he was really open to seeing, the stadium being used for, what it, you know, was designed to be used for, which isn't just soccer and football.
Which is great, because that sits there
Yeah.
90% of the time, and it's a beautiful stadium.
So, yeah, so he was rare to go. He did recommend, maybe the program committee come like with a presentation and kind of like more specific details of timing, things like that to bring to the school board. And then he'd come to that meeting to kind of report us. He'll be fine. And, so yeah, so that was cool. He was really open to that, and he comes from a bigger community and school district, so he definitely has seen how Parks and Rec and everyone can work together. We're starting to winterize the parks. Nate and I tore all the flowers out with the pots downtown, and Polly's planting mums for the DDA.
They look great.
All the straw went to the deer park and the Kiwanis Sled Hill. The Sled Hill lights are fixed from the ice storm.
Good.
The beach restrooms will be closed mid-October. We are moving forward. I know we haven't talked about it in a while, but only because it's logistics stuff. Hot Shots has came and looked at the plumbing. It looks good. All the pipes, Fairburn has come and looked at everything. I have an HVAC. Someone's came and looked at the door, so I should have a final budget for the beach restrooms, and it looks like it's gonna come in under $100,000. So fantastic. And a lot of the work actually DPW can do themselves, so that's cool.
Good.
What else here? Pickleball nets, I usually take them around my birthday, that's Veterans Day, that's usually the week they come down. Weather pending, staff had cut back, some hedges, so Washington Street access, like no one could even park there. So Nate and I hedged that back. So,
Will you have a Parks and Rec meeting on your birthday?
I know. I know.
Make it
Nice. Birthday cake. And then programming updates, Ice Fest is to be determined and how we want to participate in that. And then the Kiwanis Dates, I totally missed that that was Valentine's Day, which will either help us or hurt us. I'm not sure. I know it's super romantic. I was thinking like drop your jeans off and then, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm kidding. But I totally missed that. We haven't posted it really anywhere, so the program committee, if we meet and we wanna switch it up, or if we just wanna say, otherwise you're doing the Ice Fest weekend or you're doing present, so really need to get in there.
No win.
So, that's all
Rachel, I
I,
have a question.
Yeah.
So Kaylin's on our distribution list now.
Yeah.
You would be invited to come to the programming committee,
Okay,
which is events and stuff, or fundraising committee. Either or, don't have to though.
I'll get
dates.
yeah, I'll send it out
Yeah.
now. The other thing is, we hired Dan's Greenside up to do some work in Marina Park for those grasses. So he's cut down the high grasses, he's gonna spray an applicant to weed them out and make them more pristine, he's gonna edge everything, and make it look nice. And then hopefully the maintenance moving forward will look cheaper year to year. But we're gonna put in landscaping, we gotta make it, keep it looking nice. So, and it was a little unruly this summer.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, council only approved of bathrooms through October at Marina Park. And so if you want council to look at this again, you might want to mention it to Victor.
For what? For Marina Park?
Yeah,
You mean the porta potties?
The porta
Yeah,
potty.
Porta potty? Is the beach closing?
the beach is closing and council only approved of 4 for September and October because of the events. And
Because of the bathroom.
they haven't done anything going forward, so,
Ford Park will be open.
okay.
There'll still be restrooms down there. Ford Park's gonna be open all year round.
Okay,
So
just,
we'll-
I just wanted a reminder, if you,
Yeah.
I don't know how often they're getting used now that all the events are over. But if you think that they're being
Yeah.
used, you should
I think the DDA maybe discussed about
Yeah.
mention it to
paying to
council.
put more down or one on Main Street or something, so we'll cross that bridge. But Ford Park will be, and there's signs on the Porta John and there'll be signs on the beach restroom saying that Ford Park will be the one open all season, so people know. And that,
I have one question. Why isn't the entire board going to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Excellent
I
question.
mean, I would have thought that'd be in the budget.
wish for you. Yeah, we fly out Sunday morning and we fly back Friday
Fantastic.
About the walking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just give you a quick brief about the walking club, which is it started in June and it was supposed to end July 22nd. And the people have enjoyed it so much that they're still doing it right now, and they still want to do it in the winter for snowshoeing. And it's been a great success, except that we don't have enough participants. But people just enjoy it so much. It's not only the walking, but then we give like historical tours, and we went to the Historical Society, and I explain about what used to be along the water at the beach, and you know, they love everything, all the information.
Yeah, and to tag on to what Scott said, a lot of it was about, a lot of people just, it's so telephone in this community. Like Scott took them to the State Street project and did an explanation about that. Like we did a tour about the Marina building. And they were like, oh, like that's not what we heard, like that's fantastic, you know, like it was those things that kept the walking group going. The next year, I talked to him today, I think today was our last one, but we'll do a couple in the winter. And then we're gonna make like a calendar for all the ones next year, so everyone knows and we can plan over the winter for those, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was a fun group.
the people really enjoy it.
That's awesome. My neighbors love it.
Yeah.
I talked to Little Big after Harbor Stars and told them that if they plan events for older people too, and I told them that if they wanted to, they could contact you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To do things in
that's
the
good.
parks.
We also have lots and lots of sets of snowshoes and cross-country skis at the school that we
Nice.
give out for people to borrow if you ever need them.
That's great. Good to know.
Cool.
All right, next meeting is November 11th, Rachel's
Rachel's
birthday.
birthday.
4:30 for fundraising, 5:30 for the rest of the board. See you here. Any other business?